Greetings, this is Father Michael with our word of the week. This week's word is Kerygma. The Greek word, Kerygma, which simply means preaching or the sharing of the essential story of salvation. We're going to hear St. Peter in the afterglow of Pentecost basically give the very first Christian homily. That is, the first homily, not given by Christ himself, but given by his successors, by the church, in order to explain very briefly, succinctly, and literally in 5 minutes or less, the essentials of who Jesus is, who we are in the light of Christ, and who we are called to be, what we know, what we ought to do, and what we can hope for. So this is the Kerygma. I was asked, is Kerygma, as a Greek word, related to charisma? No, charisma has to do with, our our ability to articulate, right? So, but you can have good charisma or riz in preaching the business of, indeed, the gospel. Here we see that Kerygma has two aspects to it. First of all, Kerygma has to do with who Christ is. We believe that he is the Son of God, that he is nothing less than the incarnation, the full humanity being subsumed into the person of the divine Word, the Word who's existed from all eternity, which is all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-loving, has taken on human nature to himself eternally, in a moment of time, but now for all eternity. And so we must worship. It's a call to worship and to be connected to Christ. It says to ourselves, what's the most important thing of life? To have God, especially Jesus Christ, at the center of our lives. Any life, no matter how good it is, how nice it is, how it keeps from harming people, and how it brings, if you will, generic goodness into the world, is nothing, is straw, unless it's centered in Jesus Christ, the Creator and the Redeemer of the world. The basic message of Kerygma, Jesus Christ is Lord. But number two, because of that, because Jesus Christ is Lord, and because Jesus has descended and emptied himself and taken on a human nature, it means and implies for us that he wants our human nature to participate in what? In bringing about the divine life, bringing about his creation and restoration. And so it implies, and in fact demands, that we too share the knowledge, the experience, the love of God with others. And that when we get up in the morning, we ask ourselves, what's the most important thing I need to do today? If it's not related to how we make Christ present for others, once again, we can have a successful, well-paid, healthy job. We can have a beautiful family and relationships, and yet they are all straw. They're all passing away. They'll all go to a kind of emptiness if they're not rooted in who? In Jesus Christ and sharing his message. Just that simple. Sometimes, and no doubt, the spiritual life is difficult. It feels complex. There's lots of shades of gray. There's lots of nuances, lots of ways to understand in a more subtle way or in a more keen way the truths of our faith, and also how we ought to act prudently in given situations. Definitely a sense of complexity and difficulty, but at its roots, our faith is real simple. And it's simply, we're reminded of this: Jesus Christ is Lord, and that we ought to center our life in him, and we ought to then, from that, share him with others. Easy to say, difficult to do. As a preacher and part of the order of preachers, our job, our vocation is nothing less than sharing the Kerygma, sharing indeed the basic truths of our faith, of who God is, so that we might come alive. So this week, here's the challenge for you. I want you to think about, if someone would ask you, who is Jesus? And you had 30 seconds to answer, who would you say that he is? What would you name? What experience or image would you use to articulate who Christ is? How do you share Jesus with others? Preach the Kerygma this week. Amen. Amen. If you're enjoying these videos, do like, comment, subscribe. Also go to our website. May the Lord indeed radiate in your life, and may we radiate the joy of the gospel here in the heart of the city.